Okay, so about a month ago, NostalgiaCritic did Manhunter versus Red Dragon in his old versus new series. Something I requested. It's pretty cool. Don't know how many other people requested it. It didn't appear that he'd ever heard of Manhunter when he referenced the Hannibal Lecter films in a previous, I think it was one of his top 10 somethings. So yeah, don't know if he had just found out about it then through requests or if he knew about it all along but just kept silent about it. But as happy as I am to see that he did it, he picked the wrong fucking film to go over. He preferred Red Dragon to Manhunter. Yeah, shocking, really. Red Dragon it's just like many other films made in that time period. Goes by the same formula, has music which tries to reinforce the emotions that the film wants the audience to feel. Manhunter has this synthesized 80s soundtrack, 80s rock songs, and a lot of the time it's in contrast to the horrific events that are happening on the screen, but it just works so much better and it stands out. There was no comparison on the cinematography. He only stuck with characters. Now, if he'd done something like, he did mention it actually. He did mention that he said Manhunter had his complaint was Manhunter had scenes set in rooms where there were no pictures hanging up. You didn't think to say anything about the location of Will Graham's house on the beach? Those were some amazing shots. You had some amazing shots with the sun rebounding off the water. The cinematography in Red Dragon, I can barely remember it. What it was, I can vaguely recall he was like fixing a boat in some harbour. It's uncomparable cinematography. So, what he got right? Okay, he put William Peterson's Will Graham over Ed Norton's. Good move. Thank goodness he did that. Yes, William Peterson so much better sold the guy who's fighting a double-edged sword that, yeah, it's great that he can think like a psychopath and catch killers, but look at the damage it does to him. William Peterson did that so much better. He's got like a hard outer shell, he's got a beard, he sort of lacks emotion. Yeah, Ed Norton was just fucking boyish, and it's like when he's going through the killer's steps and he gets an epiphany, it's like more becoming of a Boy Scout putting up a tent. Like, what the fuck is this? What, am I supposed to believe that this guy catches criminals? He put Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter over Brian Cox as though, fuck, bad move, shit move. Every line that Anthony Hopkins delivers is this fucking pantomime overkill bullshit. And how can you rate that performance, and especially rate it over Brian Cox? Brian Cox, as he described in an interview, played the character with an absence rather than a presence. That's a true psychopath, by the way. Someone who has the absence of empathy. So I found Brian Cox's portrayal so much more realistic and so much more eerie. I couldn't take Anthony Hopkins' portrayal seriously. He was much better in Silence of the Lambs. Manhunter I didn't rate overall as a film. But by Red Dragon, it's just so over the top. It just doesn't wash with me, having every line delivered so full on. I was shocked by that. You have very poor taste, Doug. Now, at least you put Tom Noonan's Francis Dolarhyde's over Ralph Fiennes. Now, Ralph Fiennes wasn't bad. Fiennes' Dolarhyde was good. But, again, trying a bit hard to make him tough. Tom Noonan was just, a bit childlike, spoke softly, and again, it worked. Subtlety works. But then you put Philip Seymour Hoffman's Francis Lowndes over Stephen Lang's. You retard. Philip Seymour Hoffman was boring. He was slurring through his lines. He brought minimal energy to the role. Stephen Lang's portrayal was way more entertaining. It was like the guy was a complete scumbag and he was like proud of it. You put Emily Watson's Blind Woman over Joan Allen's. Emily Watson was shit. At least, as far as her way of conveying that the character was blind was to keep her eyes really wide open. Joan Allen's was much better, I thought. And I didn't care for how head over heels Emily Watson's blind woman fell in love with Frances Dolarhyde, and I didn't care for how tumultuous the internal struggle was with Ralph Fiennes' Dolarhyde. I mean, it worked so much better in Manhunter. That love scene in Manhunter with the song The Big Hush, that was brilliant. Red Dragon, again, they had to have that fucking music beating you over the head, reminding you that, oh my god, he's watching the movies of the next victims he's gonna kill, how horrific, dun 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 dun. And same goes for like when Tom Noonan's Frances Dolarhyde goes and kills that guy out of jealousy, and you have the Prime Movers rock song. Again, it's unconventional, it works. You did acknowledge that it was better to not have seen the interaction between Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter. Because in Manhunter they just went over it with a brief reference and then the exposition, which when Will Graham was talking to his son, and that was a great scene by the way. Red Dragon had a counterpart scene on their deleted scenes in the DVD, but it was pathetic. It was so superficial and just completely lacking. But yeah, NostalgiaCritic, you acknowledged that opening was ridiculous in Red Dragon, but you still put that film over. Why? And yes, you're quite right, it was ridiculous. What, he speared him and then shot him 3 times? All the while, Danny Elfman's soundtrack was really over-reinforcing how dramatic this whole thing was. Contrast that with Red Dragon. Sorry, with Manhunter. You got just the shot of a woman waking up and seeing an intruder in her house, and then it cuts out. Brilliant! Which begs the question, why didn't Manhunter win? Lastly, I'll just say, Manhunter ends... Okay, both endings suffer. Manhunter from a production point of view, I don't know what the fuck happened, but there are cuts there which are really messy and really sloppy. There were rumors saying that Michael Mann pissed off his workers and special effects team and like props people who were meant to sort of shoot the blood. Maybe that's why it was kind of a mess. But while Red Dragon, from a production standpoint, does a better job, it completely trivializes the guy's struggle. I mean, I watched Red Dragon in the cinema, and when he taunts him, when he fucks with his mind and brings up his, the killer's, Frances Dolarhyde's mother's abuse, people were laughing. And it's just like, really, is this what this has come down to? We're now making a joke out of what we just invested an hour and a half of our time into. And that whole thing mentioning Frances Dolarhyde's abusive mother and then having William Graham sympathize with him, that was just such unnecessary shit. We didn't need that. That ending left a sour taste in my mouth. The ending for Manhunter, where you got a fantastic shot, a gorgeous shot of the ocean, and that Red 7 song, Heartbeat, playing, that's awesome. Red Dragon, there's that, and then, how clever, a reference to Silence of the Lambs. Send Clarice Sterling in. You know, I think on your next top 11, 12, 13 fuck-ups, however many you put on your list these days, on your next top whatever number of fuck-ups video you do, you should retract this decision of yours, and you should make it clear that Manhunter was the better film. So, yeah, Manhunter is awesome. Red Dragon, not a bad film by any means, but it's an inferior remake. So, you can just go ahead, put that in your bong and smoke it, and if you disagree with me, well, you can just go fuck yourself. So, yeah, all my viewers who haven't seen Manhunter, check out Manhunter, it's awesome. Check out Red Dragon as well, and you can come back to this video and tell me I was right to call Manhunter the superior film. And, yeah, I'm out. Peace.